briefly, what I first want us to briefly talk about is the layout, right? So now layout design. Layout design is the arrangement and organization of visual elements within the what? Within a design. Like when you are talking about layout, it's how you arrange every element of your design, your color, your where you position your logo, where you position your image. You understand? So now, how you arrange all of these things, that's what makes up a layout, right? That is what the work of layout, the arrangement and organization of visual elements within a design, including the placement of text, that is your typography, your images and other graphic components to create the harmonious and visually appealing equation. So that is just layout, right? So now, and what will help you to achieve a great layout is, even after you have a layout, is the principle, how you are able to apply the principles, to the visual elements, to the element of the design. You understand? So now, for instance, now you want to cook jollof rice. Before, you have the kind of mental picture of what, that jollof rice would look like, right? So now, before you can arrive at that kind of mental picture that you have for your jollof rice, there are kind of ingredients that you need to buy in the market before you can be able to achieve that. Do we all agree with me? Do we all agree? The female here, do we all agree? You can say yes, you can type yes in the comment section. Okay. So now the same way, and the truth of the matter is now that if you are not able to get the right ingredient, or probably you overuse a particular ingredient, especially salt. In fact, you have just spoiled the whole jollof rice. So that the same things happen to what? To principle to design, right? So now you don't want to overuse a particular element in your design, right? So now you want to use everything accordingly. You want to follow a particular principle to achieve a particular design goal. Do we get it? So now that is just it, because you don't want to overuse a color in your design. You don't want to overuse the size of an element on your design, right? In order for you to be able to interact and engage with your design, it's important. The same way you have that meta picture of the kind of food you want to prepare, is the same way you have a meta picture of the design you want to come up with, right? If you put a lot of salt in your jollof right now, you'll not be able to eat it. Meaning that if you put a lot of maybe color, maybe that does not go well with each other on your design, people will not be able to also consume it. They will not be able to get anything from it, right? So if you just put everything together without following steps in preparing your jollof rice, the same way if you put every of your design elements together without organizing them, that is the same way that people will not be able to, make many of your design, right? So that is why it's important to follow these principles very closely. And that is what we actually help you to get to come up with a great design that people can actually interact and understand the message you are trying to pass across per time, right? Let's dive in. So now we are discussing the principle of design. Today we are starting with principle of design today. So you see how God can help us, if we can be able to touch element of design as well. So now let's move further. So now, principle of design, I think I've been able to explain this anyway, but let's still see what we have in the definition. So now, the principle of design are a set of rules that designers like yourself can follow when creating a composition to create visually pleasing work. So now you want to create a visually pleasing work, a work that your audience will see and be able to understand the message you are passing across without still calling you to come and explain a part of your graphic, your work. That is principle of design, right? The purpose of this rule is to deliver message in the most organized and functional way. You need to highlight this: most organized and functional. So now when your design does not perform the function you want it to perform, such as probably you design something and people that are supposed to be, probably some people are supposed to register after they have consumed the information of the design. And they are now still asking data. How are we going to sign up, right? It means that design does not work. It's not functional. It's not performing the role that you want, that the function you want it to perform, right? And bear it in mind that as a designer, you are a problem solver. Nobody will come to you and tell you to design something that is not going to be useful to them. They are coming to you because they know that you are able to interpret that what they have in their head, that their ideas, into something that people can interact with visually. That is why they come to you. It's not just to come and just put everything together like a concussion and give to them. Do we understand? So now that is why the principle is important. There are rules that you need to follow, not for you to work to come up with a great design, a functional design, and organized design. Right. So let's move on. So the first one that we are going to be today is emphasis, right? Emphasis. So now we are told here that emphasis is a strategy to get the viewer's attention to a specific design element. And you can achieve, and this can be in the form of probably a button, a website, or an image, right? So now the purpose is to create something that will stand out from the rest of the page. And if you look at the example that we have by the side of the tester, you can see that we have 4 boxes, and there is only one that is having different color, meaning that is the one that you are going to see first. It means that we want to emphasize one out of the 4 squares that is on that layout. I don't know if you understand. So now you want to make something more prominent. You want to make something more prominent in your design. You want people to see something first, to notice something first. So now if that is your goal in your design, in fact, that should be your goal. You must have a particular focal point on your design, what you want people to see first. Because one of the roots of design is when you are designing, you can't just make everything to be at the same level. You can't give the same attention, the same importance, right, to every element of the design, to every information on the design, right? You want to make something more prominent that will draw the attention, that will catch the attention of the viewer, of the consumer of your design, right? So now that is why it's important that you emphasize that particular element. You make it more important, you make it more pronounced. You give it more importance than any other element of that design. And that is why you see that this small box is more prominent in terms of the color that they use, they apply on it. So that is just it. So now emphasis to learn what elements stand out in the design. It may be bigger, bolder, or brighter than anything else in the design. It is the part of the design you want people to notice first. Do you get it now? So now what should be coming to your mind now is that, okay, how do I achieve this in real life? For instance, you are giving me a church flyer to work on, and the title of that, maybe the theme of that program is "Let My People Go," right? And that is the theme, and that is what that should be the most important thing. So you want to give it more emphasis. You want to use bold points, right, to type that kind of something. You want to give it more, more attention. Something that will catch their attention, that will draw them to the other things on that design. That is what we want to achieve, right? So that is basically what emphasis is all about. So we are moving further. So the second element we are going to be considering is used to create stability in the design. Of course, we are familiar with balance, right? It's something that we are, I think, in our physics, I think we did something like balance. Equilibrium, yes. For how many of us are science students here? If you are a science student, say hi. If you are a science student, say hi in the chat box. Science student, okay, great. So now all of us will understand what we call equilibrium in the physics, right? So now in equilibrium, we even did it in what I think we did it in chemistry too. Yes, we did it in chemistry. So now equilibrium. So now it's important because it has to do with the balancing of what? Balancing of the elements in your design. So that one is not, okay. Scott, do you want to ask a question? Hello, you can unmute yourself, Scott. Do you want to ask a question?
Sorry about that. No, sorry.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So now, balance is important in your design. Your design must be balanced, right? The same way when you, in fact, if you enter a room, probably your living room or something, everything must be balanced, right? There are something that will be big and there are something that will be small. Everything can't just be, give everything the same attention. You understand my point? So now, an element placed on the page carries a visual weight. So now, every element, and what are those elements? You have your shape, you have your color, you have your typography. Every one of them that you place on your design, you have your image. They must what? They must be balanced, right? In order for people to be able to what? To consume it the way you want them to consume. In order to make a design feel stable or have balance, the element need to have a certain scale. Scale means size, right? You have to give them, based on the importance of those, those information. You scale them based on their importance. You give them, you size them based on their importance, right? Let me show you an example. Can we see this now? Can we see this this example now? Can we see bad, what's it called now? Bad, this one is a bad balance. It's not, this design does not balance. But if you look at the way this circle now, the one that is green, the way it's spread, you can see, even when you look at it, see this thing is balanced. Visually, when you see it with your eye, you will know that, okay, this design is balanced. Because if you look at the space between this green now, this green to the other end is the same size from this side to the other end. From the right, the edge of this green, this circle now to the other end, it's the same as the one behind, from here to the other one, to this place, right? Then look at this one. It's not balanced because this place is empty. You understand my point now? If you divide this guy into two now, this particular one that the right on, if you divide it into two, you see that it is the same thing that you have on the left side, on your left-hand side, that you are going to have on your right-hand side. But look at this one. It's just on one side. There is nothing on the other side, which makes the design not to be balanced. Do you understand? So now you want to make sure that your design is balanced. You don't want it to look like the one that you have on the red one, right? So now let's, of course, we have two types of balance in design. We have symmetric and we have asymmetric. So let's check it out. We have symmetrical balance and we have what? Asymmetrical balance. So now in symmetrical balance, the element on this right side have the same visual weight as the elements on the left side. Can we see it here? Let me scale it so that we can see something here. Can we see it? So the same thing you have here is what you have on the left side. Unlike the same image that the analogy I made before we got to this slide, right? You have one gray on the left side, you have the other. If you rule that particular, like this one now, if you rule it, look at my distance. If you put it, can you see now? It is this, you have one gray on the one side and you have gray on the other side, right? But look at this one now. You divide it into two. You see that there is nothing on the other side. So meaning that this one does not balance. It's only the first one that is balanced, right? So let's move on. Look at it. It's what you have on your left side that you have also have on your right side. This is what we call symmetrical balance. More like it's pretty much applicable in maybe newspaper, right? You have the header, you have the header, then you have the other information under it, right? The paragraph text, you still have it on the other side too, right? So now all those ones are what? They are symmetrical balance. Then asymmetrical balance is what? They are different sides, but equal visual weight. Look at this one now. Look at where they place this. Look at where they place it. So now where you place it is not the problem. But this point, the major point is that they must be what? They must be balanced. No, they may be different elements. They don't necessarily need to be the same elements, right? Because you can look at this one that it's only brown. We have a brown brown square, and we're having what? Yellow box here, right? A yellow circle, right? But you can see that they are balanced, right? When you look up, you see the one you look down, you see this one. Look at it, but they are not placed side by side. But for symmetrical, they are always placed side by side. But for asymmetrical, you don't need to place them side by side. But you want to make sure that there is also something at the other side of the design. Do you get it now? So let's move further. That is what we call symmetrical and asymmetrical balance. Yes. So let's move further. You know why this thing is important? It's important because these are the things that you are going to be working with. You understand? These are the things that you are going to be working with when you are designing. So as you are placing an image on your design, on your canvas, and you are placing your fonts, you are thinking of all these things, all these principles are coming to your head. Right? So that is why it's important to master this thing. And I must be sincere with you. If you can master this principle very well, and you also know how to use the elements very well. In fact, you can use any software to come up with great design. As you are looking at me now, the same design that I'm going to come up on Illustrator, I can do the same on Photoshop. I can do the same on Corridor. In fact, I can still do the same on Canva because the principles are the same. It's only the software, the tools that are different. Then what do I need to do? It's just to learn the tool at the end of the day because I've mastered the principle. Maybe probably after you have now mastered the principle, you can now break the rules. So you can break the rule, but you must first know how to use the rule before you can break it. So now if you are breaking the rule, you don't know. You are just that person is just causing problem for yourself. So now the next point is unity. So now unity principle refers to how well all the elements used in your design project work together. You know, you are going to be having different elements of design. There are different elements of design. I think there are six of them or more. So now, how all of them are now able to work together, that's what you call unity. We said that they should have a clear relationship and communicate the same concepts. This will cause your design to look more organized, and every element of it will be related to each other. So it's important. And I'm going to show you an example now. Let me show you. Can you see this now? Can you see this now? This is what we call unity. You can see that all these things now, they unite together, right? For instance, now, probably you want to use an image. Probably you are organizing an event and you are having a lot of speakers, right? So now, aside the fact that you want to use it to probably, let's say for instance, you are having different speakers, maybe 5 of them. Then you want to make sure that all the shapes, probably you are considering that you want to have a kind of shape that you're going to put all those speakers image in, right? Maybe you decided to go with a circle or something. It means that you must use that circle for all the speakers, right? In fact, if you now want to say, okay, you want to play duo, probably you give all those circles now, give them as program. Probably you now want to differentiate between the host and the panelist. What you cannot do is that you can have the host another color. Maybe you give others green, you can give the host maybe yellow. So that anybody that sees it, they know, okay, this yellow, there is something that is unique about this person, right? And when the person now see host, that person, they know, okay, this person, the reason why they give it yellow is because is the host of that event. So the others are just moderator or probably their guests. They are guests, right? Do you understand now? So that's why it's important. And you see now, see how this one, the gray ones, look at how they work together. So they have different sizes. But looking at it now, you see the flow. Everything works together. Look at these ones now. You don't even know where to focus your attention on. Different colors. So it's those, they have the same shape, they have the same shape, but they did not unite because of different color that is being used, right? So now if you have any question before we move further, please you can raise your hand. I can be able to, if you have any, do you have any question? Do you have anybody that have any question before we move further? Is there anybody? Okay, Scott, okay. Okay, go ahead and ask. Yes, I can hear you.
This other image the only challenge is just color.
Please come again. Come again. Move closer to your phone.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
I said the only thing you pointed out from this other, the bad one, is the color.
Yes, it's the color. Yes. Yes, it's the color. Yes, because if you look at the first one now, it is the same shape, the same position and all, right? But you look at this one now, they don't unite based on color. It means that if you are going to have something that are going to unite, they must agree together.
Even though the colors may be many, but the color blending should.
They must blend together. Yes, they must blend. Even if you have different color, they must blend together. You understand my point now? That is when you can say, okay, you have achieved unity in your design. Exactly.
Very clear.
And another thing is that, before they can now unite, right? Probably you want to, in fact, everything must unite together. The size of the shape, the size of of those other elements, the background color and the fore color, they must agree together. You cannot use maybe white or yellow. It will not come out. They don't unite. They don't work together most of the time, except you make the yellow more deeper. That's when white will come out. So now the best color on yellow is basically dark gold color, maybe something like black or navy, deep blue or something. You understand? So now when we start designing, you understand this together.
So that's another. Would have to know the color combinations, colors that go together.
Yes, all those things are also important. So now we can do that. When we get to contrast, we will see that in action, because contrast is another principle of design that you also need to master. You see why you need to master all these things are important. So let's move on. So now the next point, the next point now, the next principle we are considering now is what? Is contrast. And contrast has to do with difference, right? Difference, that's the work of contrast. Difference between the design elements, difference between your background color and your foreground color. And you can achieve contrast either by using color or by using or by using size of your fonts or size. Right? If you want to show difference between a particular element of your design, you either use colors to differentiate them,